We're going to begin a discussion on color. Color can be intimidating. It can also be exciting. And we're working here with colored pencils, which is a nice transition from graphite, which is what we worked with last time in layering and getting lights and darks and so forth. So a graphite pencil is a mixture of graphite and clay, and how much clay is mixed with the graphite is what determines whether it's dark or light. And last time we did some exercises where we put down some tone and then we practiced getting it darker and getting it to transist into lighter. Colored pencil works very much the same way. The difference with colored pencils is that they have some wax in them, so they behave a little bit differently than graphite. But getting them to getting color down is done very much the same way. If you don't press very hard and go back and forth, you get a tone. If you press harder, you get a darker tone. If you go back over it, oops, always good to keep a pencil sharpener around. Try not to break it. The colored pencils, it's helpful to have them sharpened. You get a little more mileage out of them if they're worked with when they're sharp. Well, that'll have to do for now. If I were doing this on my own, I would continue and make it a little bit sharper. But anyway, you press harder, you get a darker tone. But with colored pencil, you can layer. So if you start, for instance, with a lighter layer, say this chartreuse green thing, color, and then go over it lightly. This can also be called glazing. It makes this blue, this is the same pencil, but it gives it kind of a greeny cast because blue and yellow make green. And so that's how we get a variety of colors with colored pencil. The color wheel can be confusing. These are the primary colors. All colors come from these three colors. This is a sort of simplified standard color wheel. But what we're working with is to begin looking at it in terms of cool colors and warm colors. And drawings and paintings react very differently depending upon what kind of ratio you have to cool colors, from cool colors to warm colors. Cool colors are the blues, the greens. Warm colors are the yellow, the orange, the red. When we get down into these, the purplish, they're kind of in between because red is a warm color, blue is a cool color, and you mix them and you get this purplish. So depending upon how much red you have in it, it will be warm or cool. Same with orange. Depending upon how much red you have in the yellow will give a different yellowish tone. But for now, we're going to work just with the cool colors and begin in that simplified way. Next time we'll work with warm colors, and then we'll see how the two interact. So with colored pencils, there's a variety of ways to work, and the important thing, as with always, is to figure out which method or style works best for each artist. You can get a very nice smooth look if you do this. That can be pretty tedious. It can take a while. Some people really enjoy working that way. You come up with a look sort of like this. The challenge in working that way is if you're starting off with a style of smooth, then you have to maintain that, or I shouldn't say you have to. Some people feel they need to maintain that look throughout, and it can get a little challenging trying to keep that kind of smoothness going. Another way to work is, well, what I call scrumbling, which is basically a sort of circular method or motion. So for the cool colors, I have a variety of blues here, ranging from some yellowish blue, which is we commonly call turquoise. Turquoise has a little bit of yellow in it. A sort of royal blue, maybe a navy blue, and a little bit of purplish blue. And then I have several greens here, a chartreusey green, and some darker grass greens, and then a yellow that's got a little bit of red in it. It's a deep yellow, I would say, not a lemon yellow. So I started this, I chose this image because this is for the most part cool colors. There is some yellow in here, which is a warm color, but it's a very bluish yellow. So it's what we would call a cool yellow. And again, this is just an image that can be a starting point. Doesn't have to be leaves against a sky. You could pick any area that you find interesting. I think it's fun that the shadows from the upper leaves cause these shapes here. Here they're very sharp. Here they're a little bit softer, and I think it's fun to combine those. So if I were to start with this drawing, I would do my any line work, any outlining that I wanted to do. Get this down into the camera view. With a green, I would not start with graphite, because once the color pencil is added, it sometimes mixes with the graphite and isn't as pleasing. So I would do my line work with a green, a light, and do it very lightly so I could make changes if I needed to. And then I went in with this chartreusey green and just kind of did these circular motions. And what happens is it gets a layer, sort of a Seurat, if you know the artist Seurat who did dots, and then the eye blends those markings and translates them into the different colors. So you can see up close, you can see the circular markings, but at a distance you get the kind of change of tone that's going on in this image. So I went in with a little bit of green, and if I wanted a soft edge, not a sharp edge, then I would just work into that. If I wanted a sharper edge, I would be more defined in putting this down. Then I went in with some blue just to darken it a little bit. And I just find this circular motion kind of meditative, and I think it creates an interesting texture. And I don't have to be so consumed with getting everything smooth. If I wanted it a little bit darker, I'd go in maybe with a purple to deepen it a little bit, because purple has some red in it, and red is a complementary color of green. So when you match or mix complementary colors, you get an automatic darkening. And then if I wanted to do this blue and call it the sky, I could do the same thing. I could do a cerulean blue, which this isn't quite a turquoise, it's more of a cerulean, got a little bit of yellow in it. I could go in and deepen where you can see how these blues are different. This is very dark, this gets lighter. But if I wanted to darken the sky or darken that blue background, I won't even call it the sky. I'd go in with a little bit of purple and just keep working my way around however much of the image I wanted to do. See if that will show up in the, if you can see those markings. And that's the beginnings of working with cool colors.